Who do you fancy to be the next leader of the Conservative Party?
I don't fancy any of them because none of them will improve the quality of life for most of the people. People have been buffeted by a cost of living crisis, the highest inflation for 40 years, the highest taxes for 70 years. Their disposable incomes have been reduced. We have corruption in the higher circles in this country, and none of these candidates are going to improve anybody's life. So let me put it another way. In this country, we have had a right-wing coup brewing ever since 1979, and all that we have done now is reached a particular stage where the Conservatives feel that the face of the leader needs to be changed. They are not going to change any of their repressive policies. They are still going ahead with attacking human rights. They still want to withdraw the UK from the influence of the European Court of Human Rights. They are still implementing human trafficking in the form of people being sent to Rwanda and elsewhere. So nothing really changes, and I think that means we all have to be vigilant and defend our rights and the integrity of the country.
As a former finance professional and academic, can you tell me what are the best ways in which anyone can understand the types of instruments that are being signed, the types of financial deals that the government is doing with private companies which are ripping off the public? Where can people start to look at that type of thing?
I think firstly we don't know the full extent of the contract that the government signed. We still don't know so-called companies who got the benefit of what are called VIP labels. We don't have a complete list of companies who got the furlough support, COVID loans, and many of these were fraudulent. So first thing we need is transparency, public accountability, exactly the kind of thing that got a list of companies who got the furlough support, COVID loans, and many of these were fraudulent. So first thing we need is transparency, public accountability, exactly the kind of thing the government has run away from. They're not even accountable to Parliament, far less the general public. So we need complete transparency, and I think it would be interesting to see whether any candidate for office promises that. That said, I'm highly skeptical, mainly because they did not challenge this carefully constructed opacity which the government constructed around these contracts.
Incentives or disincentives might there be?
Well, there is a fundamental problem. I think there's lots of problems with all kinds of systems of governance. Firstly, you need to democratize Britain, and that means you've got to not only change the voting system and the political system, but you've got to democratize work. You've got to have democracy at work so that people can scrutinize what corporations are doing. Corporations wield huge influence on people's lives, but are accountable to virtually no one. They even buy out the political system. You will see fairly soon Boris Johnson will be a consultant to some corporations, just like his predecessors. And his predecessor David Cameron was a consultant, and he wasn't actually trying to improve social welfare. He was trying to get his employers into the inner circle of politics and get them loans, contracts, favourable terms. So basically our political system is corrupt, and that is why we have bad governance, whether it's to do with the economy, governance, or the social system, or anything of that kind.
When it comes to something like enforcement procedure of either making sure that people that say they're doing something, because everybody's saying that they're green, everyone is saying that they're environmentally, socially, blah, 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 you know, equity for gender and all this stuff. They're all saying that, but it's not happening. And it's provably not happening in many different fronts. Where do you think enforcement procedure may come for that type of thing?
I think there's a real problem here. It's funny, in the House of Lords today, we've been debating the misdemeanors of water companies. Take water companies as an example. So what the government has done is handed a monopoly to private corporations without any accompanying controls. And basically, if they wanted to control the discharge of, for example, raw sewage into the rivers, all they need to do is ensure that customers have a vote on executive pay, customers sit on the boards of these companies. All these things are an anathema to Conservative Party. That is not what they want to do. So a lot of this talk about we want to deal with environmental crisis, climate crisis, is just talk. There is very little else to it. You know, ordinary people want to breathe clean air, they want to drink clean water, but the structures just are not skewed in their favor.